Thank you, Chairman Meeks and Ranking Member McCall, and I want to thank our witness for being here today and testifying. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. I am very concerned with the failure of U.S. export control policy, in particular the failure of Commerce and the Bureau of Industry and Security to act. According to the Congressional Research Service, the federal government only controls or restricts a fragment of U.S. technology exports to China. And since the 1990s, BIS has removed or waived licensing requirements from the Commerce Control List for much of the U.S. technology trade to China. In fact, in 2020, roughly 18% of $124.6 billion in U.S. exports to China involved dual-use technology on the Commerce Control List, which are subject to controls. I'm concerned that the China Competes bill, which subsidizes semiconductor production without export control guardrails to safeguard this very technology from falling into the hands of the People's Liberation Army, is moving forward. Fortunately, it's in conference and we can hopefully get it amended, but there's the concern. Many military firms do not even appear to be on the BIS military end users list or the entity list. In fact, BIS seems to be basically ignoring what's going on. Mr. Secretary, you've said that BIS's primary goal is to prevent malign actors from obtaining or diverting items, including technologies, over the past 10 years. Do you think that BIS has achieved this goal with respect to the Chinese and the Russian militaries, considering the PRC's advancements in technology like hypersonics and the Russian invasion?
Let me address Russia first, and then I'll go into the Chinese issues. So Russia, obviously, we just put on these stringent controls that essentially will squeeze Russia's military and their ability to sustain forces. And I come from that knowing, from my acquisition background and the logistics background in the Department of Defense, where I spent my career, that what it takes to sustain forces, and I know you understand that too. With regard to China, so the bulk of what gets exported is not stuff that's controlled, soybeans and wood and paper products and things like that. So let's focus on the stuff that's on the CCL. And yes, it's a small amount that's going under license. We do have a review going on because, frankly, I'm 3 months in the job. I came in and said, what are we doing here? I'm very concerned over what can go to China. Now, I will say that I'm pretty confident that the highest end things like microelectronics from U.S. origin are stopped. We are looking at other tools and other capabilities, and we're working with our allies because you really need to do this, not just with the U.S. You need to do it with the other partner nations who are our allies to do this properly.
If I could jump in, I'm aware of a robotics company from Massachusetts that was purchased by the Chinese. And it turns out we didn't realize until later that the real goal wasn't the robotics, but it was the AI. And so it missed the export controls, right? Because we were thinking, oh, it's a robotics company. So it's things like that that have people, particularly on my side of the aisle, and actually members on the other side of the aisle that are national security focused, frustrated about this. I've got about a minute left, so what's the rationale for not using the same stringent export controls on the Chinese military end users as you're currently doing with Russia?
So China's a different problem with, I need to have a multinational focus on that. Because if I cut off U.S. exports, we might feel good about it, but we're not achieving the end. And I'm all about achieving the end goal, which is precluding the Chinese military from advancing their capability. I read a statement where you're talking about overmatch. I spent a career building overmatch, and I want to ensure that U.S. forces always go into a fight that they're going to win because we've given them the great capability, and I want to ensure the Chinese do not get that capability.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you being here, and I realize coming before Congress only 3 months into the job is somewhat of a challenge, but we'll look forward to you getting a handle on this and fixing some of those, what I think are some holes, like the example I gave. Thank you.